Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're gonna deep dive into something I know a lot of you are curious about,
Uh,
telepathy.
yeah,
And not just any telepathy. We're
right.
talking about telepathy in the fourth density.
Exactly. We're exploring excerpts from a discussion on what mind-to-mind communication
Okay,
might look like as we kind of shift into this
right.
higher state of consciousness.
Okay, so before we go any further, let's make sure we're all on the same page for
Yeah,
those who might be new to this.
absolutely.
Can you give us a little breakdown of what the fourth density actually is?
So the fourth density, think of it as a vibrational shift, a step up in awareness where our connection to everything around us becomes much stronger.
Okay.
It's often described as a state of heightened consciousness where we move beyond the limitations of our current perception.
So it's like our senses are expanding and we're able to tap into things that are usually hidden from view.
Exactly. And one of the abilities that becomes more prominent in the fourth density is telepathy. The source material really dives into what this
Yeah.
advanced form of communication might be like.
All right. Color me intrigued. The source mentions sharing experiences like a movie rather than just words. Give us a sense of what that really means.
Well, imagine trying to describe the taste of chocolate to someone who's never had it before.
Right.
Words can only go so far, right?
Yeah.
But with telepathy in the fourth density, you wouldn't just be sending words, you'd be transmitting the entire experience, the taste, the texture, the feeling of melting chocolate on your tongue all in a flash.
Wow. That's mind-blowing. So it's not just thoughts we're talking about here. It's emotions, sensations, even spiritual insights.
Precisely, the source emphasizes that telepathy in the fourth density encompasses the whole spectrum of our being.
Wow.
It suggests that communication becomes incredibly rich and nuanced, far beyond what we can achieve with language alone.
Okay, I have to ask, wouldn't that be super overwhelming? Like suddenly you're bombarded with everyone's thoughts and feelings all the time?
That's where it gets even more interesting. The source connects this advanced telepathy to the Akashic Records, a concept that describes a universal library of knowledge and experience.
Hold on, the Akashic Records, for those of us who are just dipping our toes into these ideas, can we back up a second and explain what that is?
Sure, imagine a cosmic database containing every thought, every action, every experience that has ever occurred.
Right.
That's essentially what the Akashic Records are believed to be.
Okay.
And the source suggests that as we develop telepathy in the fourth density, we might be able to access these records.
So walk into a room and boom, you suddenly have access to someone's entire history. That's both amazing and kind of terrifying.
It certainly raises a lot of questions. I mean, imagine instantly knowing someone's true intentions,
Right.
seeing past their facade and understanding their deepest motivations that could revolutionize relationships and conflict resolution.
But on the flip side, what about privacy? Knowing someone's deepest fears, their past traumas, even their most embarrassing moments. It seems like there's a huge potential for misuse here.
Absolutely. And the source doesn't shy away from that.
Yeah.
There are serious ethical considerations that come with this level of access.
Yeah.
We'll definitely want to unpack those a bit later.
Okay, so we've got telepathy on steroids combined with access to a cosmic database of everything that ever was. My head's spinning a little bit, but how does all this actually work? Are we just born with these abilities in the fourth density?
The source suggests that while some individuals may have a natural inclination towards telepathy, anyone can cultivate this ability, just like learning a new language or playing an instrument.
Okay.
It's about training your mind to tap into this different mode of communication.
So there's hope for telepathically challenged folks like me. What kind of training are we talking about here?
Well, meditation is key. It's about quieting the mental chatter and creating space for subtler signals to come through.
Right.
Think of it like tuning a radio to pick up a specific frequency.
Okay.
The source explains that meditation helps you clear the static so you can receive the telepathic message more clearly.
So it's about sharpening our focus and becoming more sensitive to those subtle energies. What else can we do to hone our telepathic skills?
Visualization and intention setting are also crucial. Imagine yourself sending and receiving messages.
Uh-huh.
Feel the energy flowing between you and another person. It might sound a bit woo-woo, but the source emphasizes the power of directing our mental energy in a focused way.
So it's like a mental workout. We're flexing our telepathic muscles and strengthening our connection to this universal network.
And don't underestimate the power of practice.
Yeah.
The Force encourages finding a trusted partner and experimenting with sending simple impressions back and forth.
Like telepathic charades, I'm already picturing some hilarious misinterpretations, but it sounds like a fun way to explore these abilities. I'm guessing patience is key here too, right? We're not going to become mind-reading masters overnight.
Exactly. The Source really emphasizes a playful experimental approach.
Yeah,
It's about approaching this journey with a sense of curiosity and wonder,
right.
not getting caught up in expectations or pressure to perform.
It sounds like telepathy in the fourth density is as much about inner transformation as it is about communicating with others.
Absolutely. It's about expanding our awareness, deepening our connection to ourselves and the universe, and discovering the incredible potential within each of us.
This is fascinating stuff. We've covered a lot of ground already, but there's so much more to explore. We'll be back in a moment to delve deeper into the ethical considerations of telepathy in the fourth density and what this all means for us as individuals and as a society. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing some of the potential downsides of telepathy in the fourth density. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of these abilities,
Right.
but it's crucial to consider the potential for misuse.
Yeah, that access to the Akashic Records thing really got me thinking. It's like, imagine walking into a job interview and the interviewer can instantly see your entire work history, every mistake you've ever made, even your deepest insecurities about your abilities. Talk about pressure.
That's a great example, and it highlights the need for clear ethical guidelines. As these abilities become more widespread, the source material talks about the potential for manipulation and control,
Right.
particularly from individuals who might use telepathy for personal gain or to exploit others.
Okay, so this isn't just some sci-fi fantasy. There are real-world implications we need to be thinking about right now. What can we do to protect ourselves from potential manipulation?
The first step is awareness. Just knowing that these abilities exist and understanding how they might be used against us is crucial.
Hmm.
The source emphasizes the importance of developing strong discernment, learning to distinguish between our own thoughts and feelings and those that might be projected onto us.
So it's like building a mental firewall, learning to filter out the noise and trust our own inner guidance. But what about those who might be more susceptible to manipulation, like young children or people who are already vulnerable?
That's a crucial point.
Mm-hmm.
The source suggests that as telepathy becomes more commonplace,
Right.
we all need to develop safeguards and educational resources to help people navigate these new challenges.
Yep.
It's about empowering individuals with the knowledge and tools to protect themselves.
It sounds like we need a whole new set of social norms and ethical frameworks for a telepathic society. That's a huge undertaking.
It is, but it's not insurmountable. Think about how we've adapted to other technological advancements, like the internet. We've developed laws, security measures, and educational programs to address the challenges that came with this new technology. The same can be done with telepathy.
So it's not about rejecting these abilities out of fear. It's about approaching them with wisdom and foresight. We need to have these conversations now so we can shape the future of telepathic communication in a way that benefits everyone.
Exactly. The source material emphasizes that this is a collective responsibility.
Okay.
It's not just up to individuals to develop their abilities responsibly. It's about creating a culture that values ethical telepathic practices.
It makes me wonder, what would a society that embraces ethical telepathy even look like?
Imagine a world where communication is based on authenticity and transparency, where conflicts are resolved through genuine understanding rather than power struggles where empathy and compassion are amplified because we can directly experience each other's feelings.
That sounds incredible, but I also imagine it would require a huge shift in consciousness, a willingness to move beyond our current ego-driven patterns.
You're absolutely right. The source material highlights that the fourth density is not just about new abilities. It's about a fundamental shift in our values and priorities.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and choosing to act in ways that benefit the whole, not just ourselves.
So it's not just about telepathy. It's about using this ability as a tool for personal and collective evolution.
Precisely. It's about seeing telepathy as a catalyst for creating a more harmonious and compassionate world.
All this talk about fourth density and telepathy, it's easy to get lost in the big picture, but what does this mean for the average person who's listening right now? What can we do today to start preparing for this telepathic future?
The source emphasizes that it all starts with self-awareness. Pay attention to your own thoughts and feelings. Notice those moments of intuition or synchronicity, those times when you feel deeply connected to someone or something seen. These are glimpses of your own telepathic potential.
So it's about tuning in to those subtle signals that are already there.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to experiment. Try meditating,
Mm.
visualizing, connecting with others on a heart level. The more we cultivate these practices, the more prepared we'll be to navigate the telepathic landscape of the fourth density.
It sounds like this is a journey of self-discovery as much as anything else. We're not just learning a new skill, we're exploring the depths of our own consciousness.
And in doing so, we're contributing to a larger evolutionary process. Each individual who chooses to develop their telepathic abilities responsibly is helping to create a more conscious and connected world.
Yeah.
It's a powerful ripple effect.
This is inspiring stuff. We've covered a lot of ground in this discussion, from the practical aspects of telepathy to the ethical considerations and the potential for societal transformation. I'm excited to see where this conversation goes next. We'll be back after the break to explore what the source material has to say about the specific steps we can take to develop our telepathic abilities and contribute to a more telepathic future. All right, we're back and ready to dive into some practical tips for developing our own telepathic abilities. It's one thing to talk about the potential of telepathy in the fourth density, but how do we actually start tapping into that potential in our everyday lives?
Well, the source emphasizes that it's not about suddenly becoming Professor X overnight.
Right.
It's about cultivating a new way of perceiving and interacting with the world around us.
So where do we even begin? What are some tangible steps we can take to start flexing those telepathic muscles?
The source suggests starting with something you're probably already familiar with, meditation, but instead of just focusing on clearing your mind, try tuning into the energy of another person.
Okay, so find a willing friend, sit in a quiet space, and try to sense their presence without relying on your physical senses.
Exactly. You might start by simply noticing any subtle shifts in your own energy field as you focus on your friend. Do you feel a sense of warmth, tingling pressure, or even a change in your emotional state?
I can see how that would help us become more attuned to those subtle energetic cues that might be carrying telepathic information. What else can we do?
The source also highlights the importance of visualization. Imagine a beam of light connecting your mind to your friend's mind. Try sending simple images or emotions along that beam and see if your friend can pick them up.
So it's almost like a telepathic game of Pictionary. I could see that being a fun way to practice with a partner.
Exactly. It's about approaching this with a sense of playfulness and experimentation.
Yeah.
And remember, telepathy isn't just about sending messages, it's about receiving them too. Pay attention to your intuition, those gut feelings or flashes of insight that seem to come out of nowhere.
So there's moments where you suddenly think of someone right before they call, or you know what someone's going to say before they say it. Those could be signs of our innate telepathic abilities starting to emerge.
Precisely, the more we pay attention to those subtle nudges and trust our inner knowing, the more we'll strengthen our telepathic receptivity.
This is making me think about the way we communicate in general. We're so focused on words, on expressing ourselves verbally, that we often miss those subtler forms of communication.
That's a great point. The source suggests that as we develop telepathy, we'll naturally become more attuned to nonverbal cues, body language, and even the energy of a space.
It's like we're expanding our sensory perception beyond the five senses we're used to.
And as we do that, imagine how much richer and deeper our interactions will become. We'll be able to connect with each other on a much more authentic and empathetic level.
It makes me wonder if telepathy could help us bridge some of the divides we see in the world today. If we could truly understand each other's perspectives and feelings, maybe we could find more common ground and move towards a more peaceful and compassionate society.
That's a beautiful vision, and I think it's one worth striving for. The source material reminds us that telepathy is ultimately a tool for connection and understanding. It's up to each of us to use it wisely and responsibly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the most important takeaway for our listeners who are eager to explore their own telepathic potential?
I think the key message is to approach this journey with an open mind, a playful spirit, and a compassionate heart. Don't get caught up in the idea of achieving some superhuman level of mind control. Focus on cultivating your awareness, deepen your connection to yourself and others, and trust in the process.
And remember, this isn't just about personal growth. It's about contributing to a larger evolutionary shift. Each step we take towards developing our telepathic abilities is a step towards a more conscious and interconnected future.
Beautifully said. So keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of consciousness. Who knows what incredible possibilities await us as we continue to evolve and expand our understanding of what it means to be human.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating deep dive into the world of telepathy in the fourth density. Until next time, keep those minds open and those hearts connected.